This is the best tool I own. Why? Well, if you're going to plant plants, you need to know how much soil have you got, and if there's a problem with your plants, it's almost always in the soil. This is a probe. So the idea is you push it in the ground, nice comfortable handle. Oh gee, the soil here is that deep. So you can find out very quickly, oh there you are, so the soil here is that deep. So this is a really good guide. But what I love about this is I made it myself. Now it's easy to say that my garage is full of junk, and how many of you say that, you know, oh grandpa, his garage is full of junk. Well, no. See, this is an old broom. Now that's still got a few years in it, but at some point a broom like that suffers a terrible catastrophe, it's chucked out. Not with me. I keep the handles. Now that's just an old broom handle, and there's 1,000 things you could use that for. But what I did was, I just cut a bit off, made it smooth, nice to be in your hand, drilled a hole in it, put some araldite in there, and then got actually a beautiful little aluminium rod from Bunnings, and I've got this fabulous tool that will tell me the depth of anything. A rod like this can be used with a little bit of practice to find plastic pipes underground, metal pipes, bits of rock. It's quite amazing how much you can find out from a bit of rod with a handle. But the point here is, I've got bits of old irrigation, lots of different things of wood, some of it was old bird perching, all of that, bits of old wire. It really matters. I don't believe that in general recycling is worth doing. Sure, for thousands of years we've recycled all metals, and we should. But modern recycling, for the most part, in my opinion, is just a feel-good thing. It makes you feel good, but I don't believe it helps the environment, and a heck of a lot of it is dumped as landfill, or worse, a lot of the stuff, we actually got a bloke to follow what they do with a lot of the stuff. And with a lot of it, for instance paper stuff and all that, they were doing lots of truck trips down to the wharf, into a boat, all burning fossil fuels over to China or somewhere, and they took it upstream and in a factory that reprocesses it and poisons the river and all that, makes new paper, and then that's back in the boat and off to America or back to Australia. So much of recycling was nonsense. Now we've been caught out on that, and Asia is saying to us, no, 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 don't dump your problems on us. But the fact was, they conned you into thinking you were doing something good for the environment when you weren't. Just to restate it, a heck of a lot of what you put out for recycling is put into landfill still. You're far better off to reuse than you are to recycle, with that exception I said of perhaps some of the paper and also particularly metals. So this is something you can make. There's any number of things you can make. Sit back and think, what can I reuse? So before you chuck something out, say, I know what I could use that for. Here's some more reusing for you. I rake up the leaves out in the street. People think I work for the local council, and that goes as a mulch in the garden. This next door was building a swimming pool. That's the sandstone that they chipped away. Most people would send that off to a tip and pay money to dump it. That's actually better than most of the soils that you would get in most areas of Australia. That'll grow beautiful plants. And this one, we have a gravel drive, and inevitably a lot of it washes away. So I got a sieve, and I put it in the sieve all the dirt out, and now I can reuse my gravel. Some of you might think that is just so stupid. But if you're using gravel, somebody has to dig it up from somewhere, usually on a river, which is sort of avoidable if you can, so reusing it really makes sense. This is actually, this crushed sandstone is actually better than most of the soils you could ever buy. And leaves are just in the way. All of these now are becoming part of my garden, reusing. And think about it. Please contact us with your ideas. If you've got some great ideas for reusing anything that's lying around the house, out in the backyard, and you're doing it, if you're reusing rather than this silly recycling that doesn't work very well, let us know. If you can send us in pictures or whatever, let us know what you're doing and maybe you'll be famous. Now, the next segment in this little series will feature this blue object here, and this is a wonderful story.